I can have everyone's attention here in the Media Center. We will wrap up our availability here at Dover International Speedway today. We welcome now with us Danica Patrick, driver of the number 7 GoDaddy.com Chevrolet in the NASCAR Nationwide Series. Couple of stats here for us. Danica is at a career best 9th in championship point standings. Finished 13th at Charlotte. This will be her second nationwide start here at Dover this weekend. Her first one came on September 25th, 2010. She also finished 6th in a K&N Pro Series East event here in 2010. Danica, talk a little bit about being at Dover here this weekend with us.
Yep. Hi, everybody. So I got out there for the first time, and I definitely felt like it had been a couple of years since I had been here. So I did a pretty long run the first time out just to get comfortable, but, got going and then started working on the car. We started off a little bit tight and then maybe got it a little bit free at the end. So I suppose it's good that we're teetering on that border, and it's possible to achieve both of them. But I think we're okay. We're not feeling super confident like we're the fastest car out there for sure, but we're feeling okay. And I think hopefully we'll have a decent qualifying run. We made a qualifying run at the end of the practice, and it was okay. So I feel like get me a little tighter in the center of the corner, and we could probably get some more time out of it. So it'd be nice to It'd be nice to see if we can make it through the race this time. We blew a right front last time we were here, so at the end of practice, they quickly put the old tires from practice back on so I could go out and practice coming to pit road because I haven't come to pit road yet. So, so hopefully we get to do that a whole bunch tomorrow.
All right, we'll open it up for questions here for Danica. Please raise your hand. We'll get a wireless mic to you. As always, state your name and affiliation. We'll take questions here. First question. We'll take one from Reed right here in the middle.
Reed Spencer with the NASCAR Wire Service. Just curious, Danica, if you feel like the experience that you've gotten in the Cup car has accelerated your progress in the Nationwide car at all with the differential in horsepower and the different handling of the car.
Yeah, I think that's a really good point that you make. I after Charlotte last weekend on Memorial Day, I was out floating on Lake Norman and came across Denny Hamlin, and we struck up a conversation, and one of the first things that we started talking about was how much it helped him when he started racing Cup car and how much it helped his nationwide program. And I said I couldn't agree more. I feel like every time I get in the nationwide car after being in a Cup car, I just feel so much more comfortable than I did previously. So yeah, it's definitely a lot of work on the weekends to do both, but I really think it pays off, and it's definitely something to think about as I move forward and going into the future.
Okay, we'll take our next question to the right over here on the up against the wall from Bob.
Bob Hocker, Sporting News. You talk about the last time you were here, and it wasn't, if I remember right, not the greatest of weekends. Does that impact kind of how you approach the weekend at all, or is it so long ago that it really doesn't matter?
I think it definitely plays into how we approach the weekend a little bit. Obviously, I have a fair bit more experience than I did when we came here for the first time, but it definitely proved how detrimental it can be when you're too tight. I blew a right front. So to not get in that position again is very important. And obviously, with last weekend at Charlotte having a nice qualifying run and being able to get better at certain elements like restarts than I have been, it's time to fill in the blanks that are still left to be able to complete the race. And one of those things is to start the car off a little bit freer so that I can maintain speed from sort of lap 10 to 25 and not fall off. So it might be a slightly different here because the runs are a fair bit longer, but same theory that sort of once the newness of the tire wears off, if you're leaning too hard on those front tires to get you to help get around the corner and carry the speed, you're going to pay the price later. So Tony and I sort of agreed after the race last weekend that we were going to start to free it up and start to get a little bit more aggressive so that we can try and put the whole race together.
Questions for Danica? Okay, we'll take one up here up front.
Andrew Koch, WGMD Radio, Rehoboth Beach, Delaware. Are you fine, Danica? Obviously, you're bringing a lot of attention to the sport, clearly based on your popularity. Are you finding, as you travel around the country, both on the Nationwide and the Sprint Cup Series, are you finding young girls who are coming up to you and saying that they want to become race car drivers because they're inspired by you?
I tell you what I do find is, one, becoming more recognizable, period, which is very flattering. But more than anything, I'm finding that kids are recognizing me more so than almost anyone. And that's a really nice feeling. I'm not sure which channels, and I guess you could say literally what channels they're watching that they see me, and possibly it's just with the races, but I always feel the most sort of proud when kids recognize who I am, because I feel like with kids they don't. You can't make them watch anything in particular, and they have their favorite shows that they want to watch and their favorite things, and sort of recognize an adult in the world, I feel like is a very flattering compliment. And it also means that they're possibly it might mean that that's why the whole family came out to the track, is because their kids like me and want to see me. So I think that's a really great thing for families to spend time together.
Okay, we'll take our next question from Steve.
Steve Richards, the PRN. Danica, next weekend you've got an off weekend, it looks like. Is it a good time?
The last one.
Is it a good time for an off weekend for you, or would you rather be out there racing?
We have obviously. You can all relate to this. There's a lot of work, a lot of race weekends, a lot of busy weekends. So I'm looking forward to a weekend off. Obviously, I would have liked to have probably spread April's weekends off into the season, but in fact, the next weekend off that we have is in October, and I know that because I'm scheduling my sister's bachelorette party that weekend. So it's there's not going to be too many weekends off, but to be honest, my expression when I'm home is every day's a Friday for me. So, it doesn't really matter what day it is. A lot of my friends actually have time off during the week, and so it doesn't prohibit me from enjoying myself when I'm home on a Monday or a Tuesday. The most important thing for me is that I actually have a couple of days off. So it'll be nice to have that, but it's not critical.
Okay, we'll take a question over here to the left from Kim, then we'll come back up front.
Kim Novak, Speed. I was just wondering, could you talk a little bit about your practice here, and how is your car? Are you ready for the race tomorrow?
I think you asked how the car was. Is that right?
Just on how the car was.
Okay. Obviously I touched on it a little bit when we first started, but it took me a while to get up to speed. I did a long run that first time out, and then I felt like I was just a little bit loose getting in. So we fixed that, and then I spent quite a bit of the session being tight in the center, and I was feeling really good coming off the corner. But once we got to the point where where we started freeing it up a little bit on entry, and that was starting to when you free it up too much on entry, for me, I don't want to turn the wheel, and then so you end up at the center of the corner with an attitude in the car that's heading not around it, but straight into the wall, kind of. So it really helps me when it's a little bit tighter on entry, so that I can feel like I can turn the wheel and get the car rotated, and then straighten it off coming out, and then you have a lot less issues when you get out to the exit as well.
Okay, we'll take our next question right here.
I feel like that was actually like the most detailed sort of snapshot of my day that I've ever given in the press room.
Danica, Scott Walsh from the Scranton Times in Pennsylvania. I believe you're running the Prelude to the Dream Wednesday.
I am, yeah.
Can you just talk a little bit about what you're thinking about
I
that
have
on Wednesday?
no idea what to expect. I did get the lowdown a little bit last weekend when there was the World of Outlaws were running across the street, and so a lot of people went over and a lot of people were watching, and I was watching, and I was sitting there with Ricky Stenhouse, and he was telling me, and then Eric Almirola came over, and so we were talking about the fact that I'm going to get 4 whole laps before qualifying. And so they said that as soon as the first car goes out, they throw the green, and once that car has completed 4 laps, then it's the checkered. And I said, well, shoot, I might only get 3 then. But I'm really, I'm going to be probably rough, just for the most part, out there, but I'm excited to do it. I've heard it's tons of fun, and it's probably one of those things that it gets better every year as you get more practice. But I'm definitely doing it for Tony and for his causes, and hopefully we can raise a lot of money.
Okay, we'll take another question right here on the left.
Hi, Danica. Mary Jo Buchanan from Speedway Media. In a recent study in the Journal of Strength and Conditioning, there was found to be a direct correlation between the driver's strength training and also the performance on the track. Can you talk a little bit about any strength training that you do in your workouts?
Yeah, I do. I do a lot of strength training. I work with a trainer, and he sends me programs every 4 to 5 weeks, and provided, of course, I follow them and I stay on the 4 or 5 week plan that we're on each time. But because the most important thing is performing in the car. So if I ever feel like my lifting programs interferes with my strength and my endurance inside of the car, then I don't do it, because that's the only thing that I'm weight training for is for the car. So, and mind you, I feel like weight training is very beneficial as well for your physique. There's nothing like reshaping your body with weights. But I definitely do. I lift 3 days a week. I do two days of upper, 1 day of lower, and you know the program changes throughout the year. I take a month off at the end of the year to recover, so I don't sort of get overuse injuries. And so we obviously have to start out a little bit slower to start with sort of more reps and less sets when we start back. But, you know, as the year goes on, you know, dropping the reps a little bit and just working on peak strength so that what I do in the car is easy.
Any additional questions? Okay, we'll take one here up front.
Danica, how important was it for you to have a relatively clean run last week in Charlotte, where it seems like most weeks, it seems like you've always run into trouble, and most of the time not even necessarily of your own doing, just either stuff happening in front of you that you couldn't get avoid or getting taken out from behind. So how important was it for you to have a clean race last weekend, and even though you didn't finish on the lead lap, but just to have a relatively clean race?
Yeah, I think that's a good point you've made. I definitely was sort of going into the Coke 600 with the hope that, you know, something didn't happen on those first couple of laps that would make it for an ultra long night, but and it didn't, which is nice, and that just allows you to be able to keep your head down the whole time, and you know, you're racing the whole time, as opposed to if something were to happen early on in the race and then let's say you get back out, you know, you never want to interfere with anyone when you're so far out of the race. So it was nice, and I learned a lot. I learned a lot about, you know, setting up passes and how the car changes throughout the race, and, you know, just in general how the car needs to be set up to start. And you can't get that perspective on how the race flow goes until you're in it the whole way. So it was a great experience for me.
Final question for Danica. All right, Danica, congratulations on being here at Dover again this weekend.
All right,
and
thanks
good luck.
a lot. Thanks a lot. Have a good day.